It's time for Fire Field Vision, powered by NovaCare. Each and every week we take a look at what's coming up for the Chicago Fire. They take on the New York Red Bulls this Saturday, a 6:30 start. We'll take a look at how they may be able to attack the Red Bulls, as Paul Tenorio and Frank Klopas will break it down for you. There are opportunities for the Fire this past week, maybe a little bit late. We talked about the last 15 minutes. They had numerous opportunities. Hopefully they can carry some of that into New York.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Paul and I, and even Boston when he was here, he said the decision-making on the ball. I think they got in good spots, and I think it's going to be a key, like Paul said, just that first ball out of pressure. But I think they also have to be aware of the start, Paul, because I think at home, the Red Bulls, at least for the first 25, 30 minutes, I mean, the pressure, the high press, the energy they bring, I think it's important that you don't fall behind early into the game, because as the game does go on, I think it's very difficult for them to sustain that kind of energy levels, and then there will be opportunities and space to get at them.
Absolutely. I agree 100% with what you said. I mean, this is a team that likes to get off to a very fast start. They focus on those first 15 minutes, and they push, push, push. I mean, they love to counter press the entire game, but you can't run like crazy for 90 minutes. So you run like crazy for 15, and then you start to settle into the rhythms. And if you can survive that first 15 minutes, or even catch them on a counterattack early on in transition and take a lead on the road, it changes the game. This is a team, they don't like to sit in a low block and defend that way. If you can get them defending in their own half, you have a chance to break them down with movement in the final third.
That's a big key. I do agree with you. But if you look at the teams that have had success with them, even when I go back last year, I look at the game that Orlando played there, and they settled in a low block and they countered against them, and they were able to win it in a big match. And then you look, obviously, in the playoffs, they played probably one of the best counterattacking teams in the league against Montreal. And with Mancuso and Piatti and Oduro and the damage they were able to do. So I think the start is very important. I think also we talked about just the first ball out of pressure. I think movement becomes a key also. I think a big part with the forwards, their ability now to move, and when balls play to you, to be able to shield and hold it, or also now the attacking midfielder like Schweinsteiger. If he gets a little bit higher up the pitch with his size, and his ability to hold the ball becomes a key.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the clips we put together here to talk about what the Fire can do a bit better against New York to be able to be effective here.
Well, the first one, Paul, it's this. I mean, the ability now, if you can find these pockets, because once you have the ball, especially on those wide areas, the pressure is going to come, and it's going to come fast. So there's got to be movements, but you see this ability. If you can find this pockets of space in between their lines and be able to turn, there are opportunities to attack at them.
And again, here you see the movement of Brandon Vincent coming forward up the left side. Schweinsteiger floats out to the left. There will be space there in transition to attack, get a good service in. This is the type of movement you want to see, but you got to have those hard runs in the box to finish the playoff.
Yeah, and then they definitely have some issues with crosses in that area. And then again, I mean, transition, a guy like Akam, it becomes a key in this match with his pace. I don't think there's anyone in that Red Bull team that can stay with them. And it's got to be in the back of their mind, because the minute you have a turnover, a mistake, this guy's off to the races, and especially if you give him space. And this is a guy, the majority of the goals that he scored have been on the road. And you know why? Because I think teams, when they play at home, they have to make the game. They do play a higher line, which gives space to him to kill you in transition and use his strength.
Yeah, I think of 2 years ago when I was covering Orlando City. They went to Red Bull Arena. I was actually coming home from my honeymoon watching the game on TV, and it was Carlos Rivas and Kyle Larin that absolutely destroyed New York.
Maybe
and
that was the game
It was completely playing it out to Rivas on the left wing, and I think 2 goals happened the same way. A quick ball in transition to the left wing, and a curling cross on the ground into the path of Kyle Larin running, and he ended up scoring a hat-trick in the game. That's where you can beat them. That's why David Akam has a chance to play a very important role. But Nemanja Nikolic, Lucho Solignac, Michael Deleu, they've got to make the vertical runs to go along with them in that transition.
And we also need to see, I mean, they showed it there, is getting to that far post on some of the crosses. We've brought it up a couple times this year, and I think that's something that the players need to do. You had a chance to talk with Dax McCarty as they get ready to go back to New York, a place he was a captain, and now it leaves. How's he feel going back in?
Yeah, I spoke with Dax last night about it. Obviously for him, I think a big part of it is, look, he says, of course I'm going to be emotional. I don't know what it's going to feel like for me when I step on the field, when I'm there in front of the fans that I played for, that I care for so much. But he doesn't want this game to feel too different in what the goals are. He wants to go on the road and get a win, and I think the biggest thing that he says is, look, this one game is not how we're going to judge the trade. If the Red Bulls win, it's not proof that they made the right move.
Sure.
If Chicago wins, it's not proof that the Red Bulls made the wrong move. It's one game. It's not a referendum on Tyler Adams or Sean Davis or on Dax McCarty. He hopes that, he said, I think the way he put it was, the Red Bulls aren't going to judge the trade-off of one game. Chicago's not going to judge the trade-off of one game, and neither should the fans. And I think that's about spot on. But, you know, Dax did talk about the fact that he wants to be able to manage those emotions. It's not about revenge. It's about going and getting a big result on the road. He knows the Fire need to be better on the road, and obviously he would like for it to happen in New York. But it's definitely going to be an important game for him. I'm sure it is for his teammates. It's just a matter of managing those expectations, managing those pressures.
No, I agree with Paul, and I think if one guy can have play a big role in this game, is Dax, because there's no one better that knows the Red Bulls and what to expect. Right. And I think he plays a key role in that transition when they win the ball, because his ability and his vision to execute and find those passes out deep will be crucial in this match.